This is the weirdest village I've ever seen because here, absolutely no red things are allowed to appear, even the newly grown red flower. It must be immediately pinched off and then buried in the soil to clean up, otherwise it will attract the terrible monster. It turns out that in this isolated village there is a horrible legend circulating. The legend says that deep in the forest there is a group of terrible monsters living in the forest. They love red, but hate yellow. Something red appeared in the village. They would kill all the villagers, so the village chief and the elders made a pact with the monsters. Nothing red can appear in the village. 2. No one in the village is allowed to go out. 3. Every year, at the beginning of the year, raw meat must be cut and thrown into the woods. We have always kept the agreement. The village is also therefore calmed for many years. Soon this peace was broken by a fool. What he was holding, it was the unique red fruit of the deep forest. That very night, the villagers on watch discovered a red monster had slipped into the village. He rushed to ring the alarm bell to warn everyone that the monster was coming. Hearing the bell, the villagers ran to their homes. In case of emergency, each family had built a cellar under their house. Nick, who was returning home, saw the unaccompanied children rushing to send them back to their homes and help other villagers to close the windows and doors, but he himself was too late, torn and almost found by the monster. Meanwhile, Anna was waiting anxiously for Nick because she's a blind person, so she could only raise her hand to try to let Nick see. The result is not waiting for Nick, waiting for the monster. The monster was about to pounce on Anna. At the critical moment, Nick arrived in time, pulled Anna into the basement to hide. Everyone huddled together and looked at the ground, praying that the monster can leave soon. So we hid underground all night. The next morning, the monster finally left, but on the doors of every house were left with red marks. Obviously, the monster would probably come back. The village chief hurriedly led the men throwing a chunk of raw meat to the edge of the woods, asking for reconciliation with the monster. However, at night, something terrible happened again. Several boys said they saw the monster enter the village, although everyone was prepared, but on the way back, they were still shocked by the scene before them. A large number of poultry were skinned and died on the ground. Apparently, all this is the work of monsters. Late at night, because Nick was worried about Anna, so he has been sitting outside his house to guard. And it was this time alone together, it was this time alone that made two people in love reveal their hearts. Soon, the news of their marriage spread through the village, and that's when Nick was approached by a mentally ill man in the village. Without saying a word, he stabbed Nick. It turned out that he had always had a crush on Anna, but he didn't know how to express it, so he wanted to use this method to prevent the two from being together. Anna soon found Nick, who was seriously injured. The village doctor said Nick was badly hurt. He had lost a lot of blood. He might die at any moment. Because the village was isolated from the rest of the world, there was no medicine to treat him. We can only pray for him in our hearts. Anna had no choice but to make a desperate decision to break through that horrible forest to go to the town outside and buy some medicine. Seeing that his daughter's heart was broken, as the village chief, her father agreed to his request, but before leaving, the father brought Anna to an abandoned hut. Baby, yes, father, you do your very best not to scream, but... Part 3. The father brought his blind daughter to an abandoned hut. He took his daughter's hand and walked slowly into the hut. He asked her to take a few more steps to touch what was in front of her. The truth finally came out. It turned out that the monsters in the woods, the village chief and the elders were all pretending to be monsters. The reason they did this so that no one would leave the village. The father told his daughter to walk boldly through the woods. Before he left, he gave his daughter his ancestral gold watch. She could use it to buy medicine. The father was worried about Anna's blindness. He also arranged 2 assistants for her. In order not to reveal the secrets of the village, he gave his daughter a bag of magic stones. He told her to lie about it as a talisman, but as soon as she walked into the woods, one of them got scared and turned around and ran back to the village. The other one didn't last long either. After a heavy rain, Anna left the blind man behind and ran away. Anna had no choice but to grab a stick and feel her way, but she didn't get very far. He accidentally fell into a big hole. Luckily, he grabbed a tree root on the side, climbed up with all his might. Then there was an eerie hissing sound nearby. Anna was so scared that he began to run around, and by mistake he ran into a place full of red. Wild fruits, red is a forbidden color. It is also the monster's favorite color. Soon the monster appeared in front of Anna. Anna rushed to hide behind a tree, but the monster had already found her. Anna went back the way she came because there was a trap ahead. She stood on the edge and dodged and managed to avoid it. The monster fell into the trap. After finishing the monster, Anna continued to move forward. However, she did not know that it was not the monster that fell into the pit, but it was Daluho had been secretly in love with him. It turns out that when Dale was locked up, he found the monster's costume hidden under the floor, so he put it on himself. He came to the woods to stop Anna, but he ended up getting himself killed. Anna eventually made her way through the woods to the fence. She went over the fence and ran into a police officer on patrol. She found out that Anna's eyes were blind. The kind-hearted officer decided to help her. He went to a nearby guard station. He sneaked a few bottles of medicine when his boss wasn't looking. "Hey Jay, where's the maintenance ladder and need to fix his sign?" "It's in the back." And so Anna managed to get the medicine and returned to the village without any problems. Nick also received effective treatment. Finally, after the village sheep and the elders discussed, they decided to classify Dali's death as the death of a monster. They continued to trick the village into not going outside. Then why did they make up such a lie? It turns out that all the members of the village council are murderers. Once they go out, they will be punished by the law. For the safety of their children, that's why they made up such a horrible legend, living in isolation.